Hi, this is Kim Eldridge from New Frontier Books, and Happy New Year! Welcome to the very first Coffee with Kim. I've decided that for at least the first 6 months of this year, I want to be coming to you on the second Friday of the month at 8:30 a.m. Pacific. My goal for these sessions is to be bringing you additional training and additional nuggets. So as you can see, Santa Claus did not bring me either a new phone or some type of tripod to hold this. So I'll see if I can get that fixed sooner or later, because otherwise, your arm kind of gets tired. If this is the first time that you're joining me, I want to give you just a little brief history about who I am and what I do. I help authors, speakers, coaches, and entrepreneurs to finally write their books and to get them published. Now, I feel that it's pretty important to specify that I primarily work with nonfiction authors. What my authors have in common is that they have a message to share with the world. They've got something powerful that's on their heart that they are ready to share in a book form. Because as you know, Amazon's where the eyeballs are at, right? So a little bit more about me. I've been writing for a very long time. This was my dream ever since I was a little girl. So imagine how tickled I was when I went to the University of Arizona to be able to study writing. I actually have my degree from the University of Arizona in creative writing. Except something happened when I got there. I started taking my writing classes, was really excited, and then I asked the number one taboo question. What about publishing? And I discovered very quickly that there is this thought in academia that you should be writing to hone your craft because you love writing. God forbid you actually want to share your writing with the world, right? Needless to say, this was really, really disheartening, and it wasn't until what I call the self-publishing revolution that things were really able to change for me. I have been published traditionally, but the barriers to entry are really high. And the whole thing around it is just really complicated. So the ability to take my writing and to take the writing of the authors that I work with, be able to create something that is every bit as awesome as a traditionally published book, and take that straight to the hands of the readers is really, really powerful. One of the questions that I get all the time is around publishing. Talk to me about publishing. How do you do publishing? What about publishing? And trust me, I could talk for days just about the ins and outs of publishing. But here's the thing. If you haven't written your book, publishing is irrelevant. You're not ready to have that conversation. Now, I know a lot of us have set the goal for 2017, finally write my book, right? Is that you? Take a deep breath with me. If you're anything like I was, 4 or 5 years ago, I had this thought that something magically changed on January 1st. That because we flipped our calendars, a whole new world rolled over. And about by now, which is January 13th, I would start to get really discouraged because this whole new world hadn't actually materialized. All of the things that I said I was going to do in the new year, I either wasn't doing or wasn't doing at the level that I really thought I should be. Does that sound familiar to anybody? There's all those statistics about New Year's resolutions and New Year's goals and how many of them actually survive all the way till February 1st. So take a deep breath. Writing a book is not a sprint, okay? This isn't something that we do in a weekend, nor should it be some type of marathon that takes years. This is kind of like a middle distance event. I used to be a competitive swimmer, and I thought that I really loved sprinting. I was like, yeah, I'm a sprinter. No, I'm a middle distance swimmer. I don't like the super, super long distances, but it's that middle distance. That's what writing a book is like. So let's talk about how you can start the new year writing. First off, if it is now January 3rd or 13th, or even later when you're listening to this, and you haven't been writing, take a deep breath. It's okay. You can start at any time. There's nothing magical. There's nothing magical about the flip of a calendar, whether it's December 31st to January 1st or any other date. You want to know what is magical? Making a decision. At any point, you can draw the line in the sand that says, that's it. This is where I'm starting from. This moment. And then you can start from that moment and move forward. The powerful part about that is that you have to make the decision and you have to get started. So if you're looking to be entering in the new year writing, make the decision that this is the year that you're going to write your book. You have to make this a non-negotiable. So let me tell you about some of the non-negotiables in my life. Yeah, I pretty much never go to bed without brushing my teeth. Ever. It's a non-negotiable. It has become one of those habits. And it's one of those habits like we don't even think about. But somewhere, your parents stopped telling you, you need to brush your teeth, you need to brush your teeth, you need to brush your teeth. And you took over. And there was probably this period where you weren't real good at it. Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't, maybe they needed to remind you, maybe you'd look up a couple of days later and go, ew. And then you made the decision that this was important to you. For whatever reason. You didn't like bad breath, you didn't like the way your teeth felt, and you made the decision that you're always going to brush your teeth. Then what happened? You pretty much always brush your teeth, right? I get it. We all have passes, sick, in really late. I'm not saying that this is something that you'd never ever skip. But for the most part, I'd say most adults pretty much brush their teeth at least once a day. It started with a decision. And for that example, it probably wasn't a conscious decision. But writing can be. So one of the things that I talk about regularly is the power of setting mini goals. So I suggest that you pick one of these two. Either you write for 15 minutes every day, and at the end of those 15 minutes, if you're on a roll, keep going. If you're not, you're allowed to stop. You did your 15 minutes. Or you write for half a page every day. When you hit the half a page mark, regardless of how long it took you, you can stop. Or you can keep going if you're on a roll. Now here's the thing with these mini goals and the power of a decision. It's not, oh, I skipped it today, I'll double up tomorrow. Every single day. Or, and you notice with these mini goals, I'm not telling you it's this much today and that much tomorrow and this much the third day until it becomes overwhelming feeling. That isn't what I'm saying. I'm saying you're making this small commitment every day to keep going. And so the decision to make 2017 the year you write your book, plus the plan to do it with mini goals, is really, really important. This is how you can step into the new year writing. Now, the third tip that I have for you as we're talking about writing into the new year, getting this book finally done, is you need to have help. I'm not necessarily talking about a ghostwriter, but I'm talking about you need to have support. I know that in a lot of circles, the word accountability is a really bad phrase. It has a lot of negative connotations, so I rarely use that one. But it's the support, it's the check-ins, it's the making sure you're on track. It's having someone to encourage you to be better than you were before. Hi, Kimberly. Good, Kimberly shares, I've been doing this, writing every morning. That is awesome. You are already seeing the power of a mini goal. This is so awesome. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations. This is awesome. Now, one of the things that you have to do is there's two types of writers in the world. There are the ones who love to write, and they write and they write and they write, and it's an expression and it's a passion, and that's awesome. And the second type of writer in the world is an author. And they write with a purpose and with a plan and with the goal of getting a book published. Either one is okay, but I want you to decide which are you. Because the people who write and they journal, there is nothing wrong with this. But if you are here, if you're part of this group, if you're watching me, because you know you have a message to share and you know you have something to bring to the world that will change it, you want to be the second type. You want to be an author. And this was my frustration when I was going to the university, that they were turning out writers, write for the craft, write for the love, spend 6 or 8 months working on a single short story before you ever submit it, and then submit it one place at a time. No way! You have a powerful message to share. I want to help you write it and get it out. And part of why I wanted to come to you every month was to bring you these tips to be able to get you into motion and get you to go forward. Now, I'm a big one, and I talk about this a lot with my VIP clients, with the clients that work with me in small groups, about the importance of having a plan. And it's not just, I'm going to write for 15 minutes every day. That is a great start, but you have to know why you're writing. Who are you writing for, and where are you going? I call having an outline where you know where your done line is. When I get to this point, I know that the book is done. I'm using air quotes, because that's going to help you determine when you're able to take the next steps with editing, with looking at publishing. Otherwise, you become one of those people who works on their book for a decade and they never know where they're going. So they don't know how close they are to get there. So a lot of the things that I teach on my more expanded programs are exactly how to really hone in on who are you writing for. So let me talk about this, okay? I'm giving you my best stuff. I want to help you. I'm here to share. Who are you writing for? This is not, I am writing for a 40-something-year-old woman who is a corporate executive, who's looking to be an entrepreneur, who needs to replace a $100,000 income with 2 kids. That's not what I'm talking about, okay? I'm not talking about your ideal client. I'm not talking about some type of, the word is escaping me, like niche market, where you're looking at some type of group in aggregate. I'm talking about who are you writing for, that one person? And I know it seems counterintuitive to think that you're only writing for a single person when you want your book to reach hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands. But here's the truth of the matter. If you're trying to talk to everybody, you talk to nobody. This is the straight, this comes out of marketing anything, right? But the difference is when you're doing it for a book and you have this vision of the one person that you're talking to, you're so targeted. You're not looking at an aggregate. You're not looking at this 40-something-year-old executive who has this, this, and this. Give this person a name. Make it be a real person. I tell the story a lot of the people, the person, the mom that I wrote my picture tent, A Family's Guide to Camping. I tell this story a lot, and when I wrote that book, that's the person I was writing to. The short version of this was a single mom who her 13-year-old son wanted to go camping for his birthday. So they came up from the Phoenix Valley up to Flagstaff, and it was the mom, the 13-year-old son, his best friend, and their couple years younger daughter. They spent a miserable night in the campground and went home the next day. Absolutely miserable. And I realized that this family was going to miss out on all of the wonderful camping experiences that I had shared with my family. She wanted to provide this for her son, but she didn't know how. So everything that I was writing in this picture tent, A Family's Guide to Tent Camping, was directed at this one mother. Did I know her name? I didn't, but I can just picture her. I remember her frustration that morning. How this birthday gift to her son turned out to be a disaster in her mind. I think he had a great time. And that's who I'm writing for in that book. That's the power of knowing exactly who you're writing for. Years ago, I used to do a newsletter about camping, fishing, and hiking and geocaching. All of my fishing, I had one reader who would write back to me almost every week. His name was Barry. And he and his wife were recently retired. He was taking up fishing in his 60s. He hadn't done it since he was a Boy Scout. And he loved my tips. He loved how simply I could break them down without talking to him like he was a child. Guess who I wrote all of my fishing articles to? Barry. I never met him. I don't know what he looked like. I knew enough about him, and we had corresponded enough that I had a feeling. And so when I would sit down to write that article, I would imagine him in my head, and that's who I would write to. That's the power of knowing who your perfect reader is. And it's really powerful. But this is only one side of the coin. Again, you have to have this plan. You have to know where you're going. You have to be able to say, this is important enough to me that it's time for me to get help. It's time for me to get mentorship. I learn a lot of stuff in the course of my business, right? I've learned how to deliver a free training call, much like this, but a longer format on the phone. I didn't just go out and try to figure this out on my own. I invested in myself, in you guys, in my dream, and got mentorship. And that mentorship, it's more than just the accountability. Are you writing every day, Kim? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about somebody who's been there, done that, helped others, who is able to support you where you're at. I talk a lot in my trainings that nothing that I teach turns out some type of cookie cutter book. We're not talking about, I'm going to give you a 10-chapter template where chapter 1 is your story and chapter 10 is the conclusion with a call to action, and you just fill in the middle 8 with your process. That's so not me. When I work with somebody, we work to craft the book that they want to create, the message that they want to share. And what we do is we pour that into my systems for how to get there. So I want to make you an offer while we're right here. I have some very limited availability in my calendar, very limited, to take on a few VIP clients. Now, I don't want to tell you what this is going to look like, because by definition of a VIP, we work directly together to craft something that's going to work for you and is going to be really, really powerful for you. So I want to talk to you. I want to see if this is a good fit for you, for me, if now is actually the right time to write your book. Because believe it or not, I actually talked to quite a few people who think they want to write a book. And when we get right down into it, they have a bunch of people in their life going, oh, you should write a book. But the author herself or himself doesn't actually have that desire. They're not actually bubbling up that this is what they want to do. Somebody just told them that they should. So we talk about that when we're on the line. We talk about what are your goals and am I the right person to help you reach them? Less about are they reasonable, okay? But is this something that we could do in partnership and would it serve both of us? So I have opened up in my calendar availability to work with just 3 VIP clients in the next 3 months. This is really important to me that when I take on clients that I'm able to really focus on them. So it's less about your time, like, oh, I'm not going to bury you with hours and hours of work every week. That's not what I'm talking about. It's my ability to serve whoever I take on as a VIP client to my very highest level. Because when I work together with somebody one-on-one and I teach them this system and I give them that feedback, not in general, not what I can do like on this platform where I'm talking to you in non-specifics. When I work with somebody VIP, I'm talking your writing. What are you doing? How can we improve your writing? And so it's a very hands-on program. So if this is calling to you, if you would like to talk to me about your project, about writing, about publishing, even if you're at that point, I've opened up a few spaces in my calendar just to talk. So apply for a writing adventure discovery session. Just go to newfrontierbooks.com and click on the Get Started link. You have a little form to fill out because it's going to tell me a little bit more about who you are and where you're going, and then we'll find a time where it works for both of us to talk. So again, that's newfrontierbooks.com, and then go to the Get Started tab. And it's just a little form we get on. It's so I'm not jumping on the phone and not having the slightest clue what we're going to talk about, where you're at, what you're looking for. It really helps me be able to support you fully when we get on the phone. And there's no obligation with one of these sessions. A lot of times I don't actually make an offer to work with me. We get some clarity, you get some move forward process. We make sure that this is what you really want to do. And no matter what, we both get off the phone feeling empowered. So I want to encourage you to take everything that you've learned and continue writing your way into 2017. Please do not get discouraged. At any time you can make a decision that I'm going to start again. I'm just going to wipe the slate clean of the days or weeks or months that I missed, and I can start again. But when you make that decision that this is the year you are going to powerfully move forward, big, amazing things happen. So I want to thank you so much for joining me for this first Coffee with Kim. I will see you next week at the same time, 8:30 Pacific, right here on the second Friday of the month. So please, I'll be monitoring the comments on this video for the next 48 hours through the weekend. So if you watch this later, give me some questions, some feedback. I'm more than happy to answer those for you. And I look forward to talking with you. I love to talk to authors. So please apply to have one of those writing discovery sessions. Thank you so much and Happy New Year. It just warms my heart that you're here with me today. Thank you again.